Welcome into the Fade. I am Clay Travis. Not the kind of guy to brag or draw attention to myself, as all of you have well learned many years of watching, listening, reading. But Kelly, 4 straight weeks of winners from me in college football. A robust 62.2% winning rate with a lot of picks out there through 45 picks so far. And I'm hoping to make it 5 weeks in a row of wins in college football. NFL's been more of a hit or miss. But let's go ahead and start on the NFL side. Kelly has not been as good as me, but not important to bring this up. Just not something that we should focus on. But the Cardinals, Kelly, are going up against the Seahawks tonight. Kyler Murray been a bit of an enigma. Sam Darnold resuscitated his career with the Vikings. Good start to the season, I think it's fair to say, with Seattle so far. The total on the low side here. Seahawks around, I believe I have them as a 1.5-point favorite right before I set down. I'm sure that number is a little bit fluctuation. I think the Cardinals get it done at home. Do you have a read on this game? Also in Prize Picks, I'm taking both Kyler Murray and Sam Darnold to throw touchdown passes if you use code OutKick at Prize Picks. What do you think about this game tonight, Thursday night action, Kelly?
So first of all, I had an amazing NFL Sunday, so I'd like to refute the fake news that you said at the beginning of the show.
I apologize.
had Maryland outright winner on Saturday,
that was very Kamala Harris of me.
But I will say this, 4-1 last Sunday, and that's because I've been really, really selective in my college football, Clay, because when you're not running hot, you got to reel it in. Like you said, you've had 45 plays, you're running hot, hit the gas pedal. Right? So I'm running hot in NFL right now, but this is not one game that I'm going to get involved in. Bottom line, tough divisional matchup probably means I'm looking towards the under. I don't think I'm going to end up getting to the window on under 43.5, but I think this is going to be a much closer game. Low total means I'm going to tease the underdog. Cardinals are starting to hit +2 on a lot of these different books. We know exactly right now what's happening. Cardinals, Seahawks are jockeying for that third place in the NFC West with the Niners and the Rams. This is shaping up to look like one of the better divisions in football. No James Conner as he's out for the season. So what's that going to do to Arizona's offense? Again, another lean towards the under there, but I'm going with Cardinals and a teaser. I need a nice, easy, stress-free Thursday night football game.
You know what? That doesn't sound awful to me. I'm going to be down in Athens, and I cannot wait for this game. Okay, so that's Thursday night football. So I am going to the Alabama-Georgia game. I'm going to have my 15-year-old there. Should be an awesome game. I'm so excited about the college football slate that I know we just started with NFL, Kelly, but I'm jumping right into college football. And I want to talk about the big games, and so I'm going to hit you with my picks. I'm curious if you're going to pull a Todd Furman and avoid all the big games because they're so highly bet and there's not a lot of value here. But let me hit you with the games that I think are significant and just run through. Because I bet a ton of games this week. I'm super excited, but a lot of them are not actually impactful in terms of the college football playoff race or conference championships or anything else. I like Arkansas I love the over in this game, Kelly. I like Arkansas plus. I got them at 5.5. I think that number's ticked down to 4.5 or so. Would not shock me at all if Arkansas won this game. It would be very Razorbacks of them. I love the over. I don't think either defense is going to be able to stop the other team here. Do you have so I'm taking the Razorbacks and the over in what I would say is the first big game of Saturday.
Yeah, I ended up on Memphis last week late, and they didn't look good in the third quarter. I thought, hey, this is this is all right. Bad look ahead spot. Nope. The Razorbacks do what they do. They turn the ball over in the red zone. This is not a team I trust as a favorite, but this is a team I had circled early in the week. And Clay, one of the things that's not been working well for me this year is betting these games early. Traditionally, I am Todd Furman-esque. I'm betting on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'm getting the best of these numbers, and it doesn't matter. Last week, my best bet was Maryland. It got bet from 7.5 to 10. I took the 10. They won the game outright. So I'm not saying that the numbers don't matter, but I do feel like I'm a little late here to back the Hogs. I wanted to back them in this spot, knowing I was going against them last week. Notre Dame off an ugly loss themselves to A&M. But the real problem here is that Notre Dame defense. Of course you like the over. I don't blame you in the slightest. Both of these defenses are absolutely atrocious. Lean towards the Hogs. Again, I missed the number, but I do think they're going to win this game outright. I hope that some of those red zone woes start to go in their direction. You would assume that they can only lose so many games in the red zone year after year after year that maybe some positive regression would come their way.
I mentioned early, there's actually, I think, a pretty stellar game on Friday night. FSU on the road against Virginia, Kelly. I am taking the over in this game, and it's actually been bet up quite a lot since I bet on the over here. I think Tony Elliott, it's taken him several years. This UVA team can score. And I understand that people are like, it's Virginia. I don't care. I don't buy it. I think we have been a little bit too quick to say FSU is supremely elite. They kicked the crap out of Alabama week 1. I was there. I watched it in person. They really haven't played anybody since. And so this is going to be a little bit different. Hostile environment. You've got other games that I think Miami are maybe getting a little bit in the head of FSU as they go forward. It's a Friday night game. Kids are going to be wasted. It's going to be a great home field environment. Again, next weekend, you've got Miami coming to FSU. This is the quintessential not pay attention to game. I think that Virginia is going to keep it close. I love the over here. I thought FSU would be favored by more, so I didn't like the fact that the number's sitting around 6.5, so I didn't play that side. Instead, I took the over. I just think UVA is going to move the ball, and I think they're going to score. I can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game on Friday night, Clay. I did take the +7 yesterday. I saw that 7.5 tick down. I was shocked to see 6.5. The whole world's going to want to bet FSU, and why not? They have the number 1 ranked offense. They have Tommy Castellanos, who's now getting lots of chatter about being a Heisman contender. But I'm sorry, outside of Alabama, wins over East Texas A&M and Kent State, we got to pump the brakes just a little bit. Like you said, I have been the biggest Mike Norvell hater since he cost me in overtime versus Notre Dame. I think that was 4 seasons ago. And last year, by all means, they had that Dublin curse and the wheels fell off the wagon. I'm happy to see them back to relevancy, but everybody needs to calm down. You're right. I've been dead wrong about Miami so far this season. Miami is going to open a favorite there in Tallahassee. So, of course, the Noles are looking ahead. I like Virginia. I did not put anything on their money line because I ultimately think that FSU might be able to pull out a win late, but I got to take over a touchdown here with the Cavaliers.
Okay, let's go into the big games right now, and then I'll circle back to some of these that are less significant. To me, clearly, Bama, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State, and LSU, Ole Miss are a different level of game than the others. So I mentioned that I'm going to be at the game in Athens. I bet Georgia. I got them at -2.5. This number, I think, Kelly, lots of places, correct me if I'm wrong because you got the big board in front of you more often. I'm now seeing Georgia over a field goal favorite. The number has come in a bit more on them. And I took the over. And I'm doing that because I know traditionally we look at Alabama and we look at Georgia and we say these are great defenses. I was there when Tennessee ran up and down the field all game against a Georgia defense. Now, I think Tennessee is very good offensively, and we'll talk about that maybe in a moment. But I don't think that either of these teams is going to shut down the other one. To me, this feels like a over game, feels like something that Georgia pulls away and wins by 7 or 10 total. I think Alabama and Kalen DeBoer are going to be on the scorching hot seat if they lose this game. But I'm taking the Dogs. I think they're going to have an incredible home field advantage. I'm going to sound a little bit like Todd Furman. Maybe weather, because I've been looking at the weather because I'm like, am I going to have to, wear a poncho or worry about getting a little bit wet? Still a little bit uncertain. Maybe it's going to come through earlier in the day as opposed to later. Did you bet this one or are you touching it?
So I didn't bet this one, Clay, but of course this one's on the move because the whole world is on Georgia. everybody still remembers that Alabama team losing to FSU early, and Georgia looks like they're unstoppable and headed for the SEC championship already. I think everybody needs to calm down. I understand we got lottery people saying in, over there in Tuscaloosa that if they win the $1 billion, they're going to buy out Kalen DeBoer. It's going to be a couple of years, guys, that we can't just find Nick Sabans walking around on the street. And Kalen DeBoer has been good as an underdog all the way back to his days in the FCS. So let's just remember this. Pump the brakes. You've got UGA here who, well, can't beat them in the national championship game, but can beat them in the SEC championship game. And they all know that. And that's kind of what the little beat writers are saying about this game. But let's remember, Alabama 6-0 against the spread is conference underdogs of 7 points or fewer, 5-1 when coming off a bye. I don't know how on earth you're going to lay points here with this Georgia team. Their stock is way too high. I made this game 1.5. I should be all over the Tide. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm not in a rush to bet anything this week. I have a feeling by kickoff, I'm going to be on Bama.
Okay, you're on the opposite side there. Oregon, Penn State. This one is one of those fishy lines, I think, to a lot of people. The criticism of James Franklin, and I went off on this on OutKick today because I don't think it's actually fair. The criticism of James Franklin is he can't win the big game. And yet this line has come out, and Penn State has been basically a field goal favorite, a little bit over a field goal favorite all week long. Oregon has dominated everyone. And I think there's probably a lot of people sitting around saying, boy, this line feels a bit fishy. Are you one of them? I'm taking Penn State. I know James Franklin well. I know that they circled this game on the proverbial calendar. I don't think they've shown anything in the first several games that they played. I think to a large extent for them, the season begins with the whiteout game against Oregon in Happy Valley Saturday night. What do you see in this game?
Listen, hand up, I'm a big James Franklin hater. I hate laying points with James Franklin. He is 1-18 outright in his career versus top 5 ranked opponents. So why on earth would I want to lay points with him? Well, because this line's actually short, Clay. Everybody says it seems fishy. Beaver Stadium at night is worth 6 points to the betting line during a whiteout. Oregon, sure, they've won their first 4 games by a combined score of 203-37. They routed those opponents. But Penn State is off an early bye week. And let's be real, this Penn State team has made leaps and bounds. Last year, they were just an interception away from being in the national championship game. They ended up losing that Big Ten championship game to Oregon. And I think a lot of people are buying this Oregon hype once again. Oregon better come up with a couple of interceptions if they want to win this game. I think you got to lay the points here with James Franklin. I think he gets that top 5 monkey off his back.
We are in agreement there. The other big one, this line is fun because it's basically Vegas throwing its hands up and saying, we got no idea. LSU was favored. Now Ole Miss was favored. You've seen the money running a little bit both directions. Latest I've seen is Ole Miss around a 1.5 point favorite-ish. I think Ole Miss wins this game outright. LSU, I am not sold on their offense, what is going on there. I'm questioning Ole Miss's defense. I did not like the performance that we saw against Kentucky and against Arkansas. There will be some points scored, I think, but ultimately I like Ole Miss's offense better than I do anything else here. I'm not 100% sold that suddenly LSU's defense is fixed. I don't think they've played very good offenses. They got 5 interceptions from DJ Lagway in Florida, only put up 20 on them. They only put up, if I remember correctly, 17. Am I right about that, Kelly? On the road at Clemson. And that win doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did back when it happened. So I think Ole Miss gets the win. Lane Kiffin, hotty toddy in the Grove. The Rebs are going to be celebrating.
Clay, how can you not listen to Lane Kiffin? He told you exactly what to do this game. He said, take the over. His daughter Landry posted on Instagram and said, here's my new boyfriend. I'm so happy. He just so happens to be a linebacker for LSU. And Lane says, all right, bet. We're going to throw all over this kid. Take the over. Don't overthink it. Listen to the coach. I hope he doesn't get in trouble for all of his betting references, but I'll take it all day long.
I have got a ton of bets. I placed 15 bets this week, Kelly. I'm just going to run through some of them. I know. I'm just going to run through some of them. A lot of them are underdogs, which I think you're going to like. I took Wake against Georgia Tech, got them basically 2-touchdown underdog. Georgia Tech, I think, very hyped. Wake can score traditionally at Wake, early kick. I like them as a big underdog. I took Illinois. I got smoked in the Indiana-Illinois game last week, but Southern Cal, all the way, I'm telling you, college kids coming all the way across the country. I think this is going to become a thing in the Big Ten. You're asking these kids to kick off at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That some of you out there are like, whoa, what's the big deal? That means they have to be up around 6 a.m., 5 a.m. Pacific time to be getting ready for this. You and I have traveled quite a lot. That is a big difference for your body. I think it's going to be impactful. I took Vandy the over. They're scoring points like crazy. The number is big against Utah State. I took the over there. I took Washington plus the points against Ohio State. And I took Iowa plus the points against Indiana. So a lot of underdogs. Those are all the underdogs I took. Do you like any of these underdogs? Because traditionally you enjoy taking underdogs.
I do love taking underdogs, and I like underdogs that can win outright. And I like underdogs that are getting way too much value at home. You mentioned Illinois. I am appalled by that line. Yes, we all just saw 63-10 final. I understand, but we should not be overreacting to a one-game sample size. You mentioned what a horrible spot this is for Lincoln Riley's team. Plus, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 conference road games, including 0-6 against the spread as a favorite of 5 or more points. And oh, by the way, 1-13 against the spread, not in the Pacific time zone. Are you kidding me? It all signs point to Illinois, buy low spot. Brett Bielema, please just run the football. I too am on Iowa. I know that kind of correlates with the Illinois play. Kirk Cignetti doing a fabulous job there in Bloomington. But this is ridiculous. We have to go all the way back to 2022 versus Michigan to find the last time Iowa was this big of a dog at Kinnick Stadium. I can't pass up this opportunity. This is the first road game for the Hoosiers. Hawkeyes defense allowing just 14.5 points per game this season. They're only giving up 233 yards in the air. I love Iowa here catching points. And another underdog that I love, Clay, Kentucky at South Carolina. If you remember last year, the Gamecocks went into Lexington as 9.5-point dogs, won the game outright. I was on them in this spot. Now Kentucky's going to get a return the favor. Mike Shula and this offense is awful. I've been saying it since the Vandy game. 110 an offensive success rate, 123rd in EPA per rush attempt. Their third down average distance this season is 9.41 yards. Without Lenora Sellers just running for his life, they would never complete a third down. It is the worst in the country. It is awful. We have a really solid Cats defense here. I think they win the game outright in Columbia.
I took the under in the game in Columbia. I think it's just I'm not sold. Either team has a lot of offensive firepower. So I'm taking the under in that one. I took the over, Kelly, in Auburn at Texas A&M. The Texas A&M team, a lot of hype. They have not stopped anybody defensively yet. And so I think Auburn will have some success against them. And then my ultimate tap the veins play here, my blood bank guarantee, I think Tennessee, Mississippi State. Tennessee is going to score 40+, but I think there's a very good chance they give up 20+. I think this number soars. I got it 61.5. I think this number is going to go barn burner through. If Tennessee fires on all cylinders, I think they could score 50+ by themselves. This offense is legit. They're good. I think they'll move the ball. Early afternoon, not a night game, which I think helps the road team. Mississippi State, I think, will have success because everybody has scored and moved the ball some against Tennessee. So I think 40 for the Vols, 20 plus, 40 plus for the Vols, 20 plus for Mississippi State. That's my favorite bet of the week in college football. Anything else you love in college football, Kelly?
I was this close to taking Auburn, but a very interesting back-to-back road game scenario there. I want to bet against Texas A&M so bad after last week. Everybody's acting like they have some offensive prowess against that really awful Notre Dame defense. There may be a chance I end up getting to the window on them, but I just hate teams off back-to-back road games. Also considered Arizona at Iowa State. Iowa's like 2 undefeated teams, right? This should be a really great matchup, but Arizona's coming off that Friday night game versus Kansas State into a bye week, headed into Ames with nice rest. Matt Campbell, man, everybody loves him, but he tends to have some hiccups middle of the season, especially against inferior opponents. We'll see if Fafita can not throw a pick and maybe get the outright win there in Ames. Again, another team that I'm on the fringe with, looking out. And I also considered Mississippi State. I think this is going to be a really close game, Clay. I think it's going to come down to the wire. But I do agree, your Tennessee is a better team. My problem is in the past 3 seasons, they keep losing conference games to unranked opponents.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's really just one of those thorns in your guys' side. I don't know if it's going to be Mississippi State or not. I'm not sold that they're as good as they've looked on paper. We'll see what Joey Aguilar's got up his sleeve. I don't hate liking that over there. I think that could be an absolute and utter shootout.
All right, let's go into the NFL. I mentioned that I like the Cardinals to win outright tonight. That's one of my picks. I'm about to post it up at OutKick. Vikings Steelers, Kelly, on the road in Dublin, I believe, a place where you recently were watching your beloved Kansas State team fall flat on their face. I got the over in that game. I feel like Aaron Rodgers has. I've been impressed, candidly, with how he's done. They're 2-1. One of these teams is going to be 3-1 coming out of this game and feel phenomenal about themselves. Texans, my Titans, Kelly, are so bad. I know I said this in the last show. Nobody cares about the Titans because they're one of the most irrelevant franchises on the planet right now. But they are so poorly coached. I think Cam Ward actually has quite a lot of talent. His arm is impressive. I have zero faith in this coaching staff to get the best out of him. C.J. Stroud, maybe a cautionary tale about, hey, 1 year, don't say that somebody's going to be stellar. C.J. Stroud, bad in year 2. He's looked awful in year 3. But I think they get the win over the Titans. And then Commanders. Falcons got blown out 30-0. They got quarterback uncertainty. I think the Washington always will be Redskins in my life get that win. Do you have any strong takes on any of those games? What else do you like in the NFL matchups?
I know you're really low on your Titans, Clay, but I am terrified to take this Houston team that has a ton of problems in my survivor pool, which means I just need them to win. Not only that, I could definitely not lay points. They're 1-7 in their last 8 divisional matchups against the spread. And this is not a good division. Tennessee might be able to squeak it out. I've heard some different rumors about Cam Ward not being 100%, maybe some ankle and foot issues. So maybe you can help give me some inside information on that one, and I'll get to the window with Texans and Survivor. But they absolutely and utterly terrify me. I do like the Colts this weekend. I think that this is one of those spots where we're going to see an outright underdog winner from this team. I know Daniel Jones, everybody's given him lots of praise, especially with how bad the Giants have looked. But let's look at the Rams. They're coming back home. They played back-to-back games where they stayed on the East Coast. But this is one of those losses that you kind of have to wonder to Philadelphia how quickly the Rams can put that behind them. I mean, we were told by everybody that was their historically worst loss ever as a gambler. I don't know if it was, but let's see about the Colts offense, right? Number 2 in EPA per play, number 2 in success rate, number 1 in EPA pass attempt. I can keep going on. Number 5 EPA in rush attempts. I get it. There is a world where Indianapolis is still underrated, and I think it's in this world versus the Rams. So I did take the 3.5 there, and I think I'm going to get really ugly on Sunday night. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to take Dallas. And I know everybody's going, what is wrong with you? But if you watch that game last week versus the Bears, it was 14-14. And then all of a sudden, CeeDee Lamb gets a little bit banged up and the wheels kind of fell off defensively. And Caleb Williams all of a sudden just gets all of this love. I need everybody to kind of pump the brakes and realize that maybe Javonte Williams can get that running game going here against the Packers. George Pickens was supposed to be this strong wide receiver too. We'll see how that starts to come to fruition. I know CD is going to be out the next 3 to 4 weeks. This line is way too high. It was 1.5 in August, 4.5 last week. Now all of a sudden you're going to give me 7 in the hook. I think that back-to-back road games for the Packers, who choked away that Browns game last week, might come back to bite them. We'll see if Stephon Diggs is able to play. He got banged up as well, but I do like the Cowboys. That one we're going to keep a really good eye
on. I like that Colts-Rams game that you mentioned. I'm taking the over. I'm impressed with what Daniel Jones and this Colts offense has been able to do. They look like they are firing on all cylinders a bit, and there's an argument that Daniel Jones is going to be this year's Sam Darnold. Still early in the season, but it definitely looks like he is on a redemption tour. Eagles-Bucks, huge game, Kelly. I'm taking the Bucks as I got them at +3.5 on the road. Eagles very fortunate to get past the Rams last weekend. One of the all-time awful bad beats, depending on how you bet that one. I think I saw a video of you and some of your pals reacting to that one. And then, look, there are a lot of big games. You mentioned the Packers game. How about the Ravens on the road at the Chiefs? One of these teams is going to be 1-3. I'm going to take the Ravens to go on the road, 2.5-point favorite, win against the Chiefs. I can't wait to watch, see what's going to happen. That is basically the totality of my NFL picks.
Yeah, I also like Tampa Bay. I haven't gotten to the window with them yet. I kind of feel like they're the team, Clay, that just keeps pulling wins out of their you-know-where. Last week again against the Jets, sitting on the couch with Brett. He's got the Bucks in Survivor. I took the easy way out, took the Bills on Thursday night, and I said, I'm going to bet the Jets this week. And he's like, you want to bet the Jets every week. And sure enough, here come the Jets in the fourth quarter block. I mean, it went from blocked field goal in the Rams-Philly game to
That's
away
right. Boom,
in
boom,
Bucks
boom, all
Jets.
happened.
It was such a crazy series of events. And then I just sat down because I felt so bad. I wanted the Bucks to win so that he didn't get eliminated, but I also was trying to cover that Jets play. So I'm like, please just kick a field goal. And that seems like what the Bucks have had to do every single week. Score a late touchdown with less than 90 seconds to go, kick a late, huge field goal to try to win the game. I feel like they're hanging on by a thread. There's nothing that Philadelphia has done to impress me to warrant them to be a 3.5-point road favorite. But I will say sometimes those momentum of those crazy game winners do carry over into the next game. If you remember, there's a little bit of playoff revenge there for Philadelphia getting beat 2 seasons ago in Tampa. It is going to be hot. They're saying with humidity, it's going to be over 100 degrees on the field. So do with that information what you will. We'll see if I get to the window on the Bucks, but I like them. I can completely see why you're on that side.
All right. Anything else out there? That's a lot. I mean, it's a spectacular weekend of college and NFL, plus the Ryder Cup. If you're a sports fan, it just doesn't get much better than this weekend.
Yep, I'm not leaving my couch, Clay. I plan on just being a permanent fixture, watching all the sports with all the TVs and really enjoying a nice off weekend before somehow I got suckered into going to all these weddings in October.
Good luck. Fall weddings are the bane of anyone's existence. And appreciate all of you out there. Hopefully, apologies to Kelly for she had a good week of gambling. I have not done well in the NFL yet, but I feel good about the college football picks. Fingers crossed we can keep it going. We'll see you guys a little bit earlier in the week. What are we doing? Wednesday next week. So we'll try to get it out a little bit early. Enjoy the games tonight. Hope to see a bunch of you at the Alabama-Georgia game this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to have good long-form comment, trust me, coming out on that. And all that is still to come. Kelly, good luck on the picks. We'll see you next week.